The sky ripped open. The Academy lecture hall was quiet. Too quiet for Commander Jace Thorne's liking. He stood at the front, dressed in Earth Force formal blues, speaking about peace, war, and the fragile balance between species in the galaxy. Behind him, a giant screen displayed maps of recent Talari movements. The Talari were a proud warrior alien race, powerful, winged, and ruled by ancient tradition. Earth had signed a peace treaty with them 3 years ago, and so far, things were calm. The key to interstellar diplomacy, Jace said, pointing to a glowing symbol, is respect. Their culture may seem harsh to us, but the ceiling cracked. Not a sound, not a warning. It cracked. And then it tore open. Screams followed. Glass rained down from the high dome as something massive and dark dropped through the roof like a falling meteor. Jace didn't have time to move. A gust of wind slammed into the hall. Chairs flew. Students ducked. Alarms began blaring, and in the middle of the chaos, she appeared. She was not like the other Talari Jace had met. This one was taller, broader across the shoulders, and her wings shimmered like molten gold. Her armor was black and jagged, shaped like the bones of dead beasts. Her eyes glowed violet, and her hair was braided with rings of silver. She didn't speak. She grabbed him. One moment, he was standing. The next, claws wrapped around his chest and back, lifting him off the ground like he weighed nothing. "What the hell?" he gasped, struggling. Students shouted. Weapons were drawn, but she was already moving. Glass burst again as her wings beat once, twice, and she shot upward through the ruined ceiling, carrying Jace into the open sky. Below, chaos broke out. Security bots chased, drones launched, orders were screamed through comms. Jace twisted in her grip, trying to look up at her. "Put me down. Who are you?" She didn't answer. The wind roared in his ears. They were hundreds of meters above, the ground now climbing fast. "This is a violation of interplanetary law," he shouted. "You'll start a war." At that, she looked down. A smile curved across her lips. "Good," she said. Then everything tilted. They weren't climbing anymore. They were flying forward now, fast, cutting through the sky. Jace could see the Academy vanishing behind them, replaced by mountains and clouds. Far above, something dark shimmered. A ship, a massive one, floating just above the cloud line, cloaked, invisible to Earth radar. Until now. "Oh no," Jace breathed. "You planned this." The warrior didn't reply. Instead, she tightened her grip and soared straight toward the ship. Earth's air defense scrambled to respond. Missiles locked on. Fighters launched. But as they neared the warship, Talari shielding flared to life. A blue pulse that knocked the missiles off course and jammed the targeting systems. As they passed the threshold of the ship's hangar, Jace looked around. Hundreds of Talari warriors stood in formation, armored, silent, waiting. And in front of them, 3 ancient Talari elders, dressed in robes made of feathers and stone. The warrior carrying Jace dropped to one knee, placing him gently before the elders. He stumbled, catching himself on one arm. What is this? What do you want from me?" The eldest Talari, his face lined with age and his wings wrapped like a cloak, raised one hand. "You were taken mid-sentence during command," the elder said in a deep voice. "As the old law demands, you have been claimed." Jace blinked. "Claimed? By who?" The golden-winged warrior stepped forward. "By me," she said. Jace stared at her. "Why? I don't even know you." "But I know you," she replied. "Your words, your strength, your silence during the war. I watched. And now I choose." "This isn't a game," Jace said. "This is madness." The elder nodded. "You may accept the claim, or challenge it." "Challenge it how?" "In the arena, before we land." Jace's heart raced. Before we land? He looked around. They weren't stopping. They were heading for Talari homeworld, and somewhere deep inside he realized this wasn't just a kidnapping, this was a ritual, and he was now part of it. Flight through fire, the Talari warship broke, through Earth's atmosphere like a silent god tearing the sky in half. Inside the hangar, Commander Jace Thorne stood frozen as the ship sealed shut behind him. The strange warrior who had stolen him mid-sentence, Vexa, stood at his side, her wings folding tight against her back like shields of living metal. He didn't understand. He couldn't. 1 hour ago, he had been teaching a peaceful lecture. Now he stood in a ship full of silent warriors, ancient elders, and a tradition that was older than any Earth law. This isn't diplomacy, Jace muttered to himself. This is madness. Vexa looked at him, amused. No, human. This is honor. You broke into a human academy, Jace snapped, voice rising. You took me in front of everyone. There will be retaliation, maybe war. Good, one of the warriors nearby said coldly. Let them come. Talari do not fear fire. We were born from it. Suddenly, the deck beneath them shifted. The ship was rising, fast. Through a tall window behind the elders, Jace saw Earth shrinking below. Air defenses swarmed in the distance like angry insects. Prepare shields, a Talari pilot said through a comm. They won't fire, Jace said. Earth won't risk killing me. Vexa gave a soft laugh. Are you so sure, Jace Thorne? Before he could reply, the ship shook violently. Impact. One of the rear wings had been hit. The lights in the hangar flickered. Alarms rang out in low, strange tones. Targeted by orbital defense net, a voice said. 5 drones approaching. Missile lock in 8 seconds. Jace backed against a support beam. What now? The elder raised a clawed hand toward Vexa. Prove your claim. Without hesitation, Vexa turned and ran, not away. Toward the side wall, she leapt, wings flaring, and smashed through a small sealed hatch that led to the outer hull. The vacuum sucked at the air, but Talari warriors braced for it like it was nothing. Jace, wide-eyed, rushed to the window. Outside, Vexa flew directly into open space toward the incoming Earth drones. What is she doing? Jace shouted. She fights for the right to keep you, the elder said calmly. If she falls, you return to your people. If she wins, your life belongs to her. Belongs. I'm not a thing to be owned, but no one listened. Outside, Vexa moved like a storm. The drones locked onto her heat signature, but she vanished in bursts of speed, zigzagging, diving, then flipping behind them with a precision that no human craft could match. Boom. One drone exploded, then another. Jace watched, in horror and awe, as she wrapped her claws around a third drone and tore it apart with raw force, letting its shattered pieces fall to Earth like burning leaves. Missiles fired, missiles meant for the warship. But Vexa flew into their path. She spun, caught 2 of them mid-air, and hurled them back at the last drone. Impact. Fire bloomed in the upper atmosphere, and Vexa returned. She landed back in the hangar without a scratch. Her armor was glowing. Her chest heaved. Her eyes burned. Jace stared, not in fear, in respect. Why would you risk your life for a tradition? He asked quietly. Vexa stepped closer, her tone softer now. Because the tradition is more than claiming. It is choosing. I chose you. But why me? You're the only human who spoke like a warrior. Calm, patient, but unafraid. I've watched you from the shadows. You stood between 2 warring species and never blinked. You lead not with orders, but with example. Jace shook his head. You still didn't ask. Asking is for those unsure of what they want, she said. He didn't answer, because somewhere deep down a strange part of him understood. Not all power came from force. Sometimes it came from seeing what others couldn't, and choosing to act when no one else would. The ship steadied. The elders turned once more to Jace. She has earned the right, one said. But the bond is not sealed until the ritual is complete. Jace narrowed his eyes. Ritual? The joining. Before we land? Land where? A pause. Vexa answered. On Talarian, the heart world. Jace's breath caught. No human had ever set foot there. And now, he wasn't just going. He was being taken as a claimed one, a warrior's mate or prisoner or both. And the galaxy was watching. The claiming ceremony begins The warship descended toward Talarian, the Talari homeworld, veiled in clouds and fire, a world of cliffs, lava rivers, and sky fortresses built into mountains taller than storms. Commander Jace Thorne stood at the observation deck, eyes wide. The planet looked like a battlefield frozen in time. Massive winged statues stretched over mountaintops. Temples floated above volcanoes. Beasts with armored hides soared beside the warship like shadows in flight. "You've brought me to your world," Jace whispered, "and still expect me to follow your rules?" Vexa stood beside him, silent. Her armor had been replaced with ceremonial robes, dark red with gold chains. Her wings shimmered with oils that glowed in the sunlight. Jace glanced at her. "You're really going through with this, aren't you?" "Yes," she said calmly. "You were taken mid-command. You did not resist with force. That begins the bond. Now we finish it." He looked away. "Finish it how?" Her wings twitched. "With the claiming ceremony." Jace turned back to the window. "I should be fighting this." "Then fight it," she replied. "Challenge me in front of the high flame." But that was the problem. He didn't want to fight her, not anymore. Not because he feared her, but because he had started to understand her. The ship passed over a circle of fire, an enormous arena carved into the side of a mountain, its edges lined with glowing torches and crowds of Talari warriors. Their wings beat rhythmically, sending waves of wind across the arena like the roar of ancient drums. As the ship landed, trumpets of bone and crystal echoed from every direction. Jace was led down a bridge made of obsidian. Talari guards lined the path. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with disgust. He was a human, weak, soft, unworthy. But Vexa walked beside him like he was royalty. They entered a large chamber beneath the arena, lit by red flame, filled with masks, relics, and banners painted in blood. The elders were waiting. "You stand at the edge of bond," the oldest said. "If you accept her, you must prove it before the fire of Talarian. Speak now, or turn back." Jace looked at Vexa. Her eyes didn't beg. They waited. He could still walk away, but part of him whispered, "Don't." So he stepped forward. "I accept the challenge." A low sound spread through the chamber. Approval. Ancient and deep. Vexa nodded once, then turned and disappeared through a tunnel. Jace was led to the opposite side, where Talari servants stripped him of his Earth uniform and dressed him in something older. Light armor made of feather steel, a rare material that shimmered like moonlight. They gave him a blade. "I'm not here to fight her," he said. "Then, offer surrender with strength," the servant replied. Minutes later, Jace stepped into the arena, and the world watched. Giant screens floated above the crowd, broadcasting to Talari worlds across the stars and to hidden feeds on Earth military channels. Everyone saw the human. Everyone saw Vexa, too, now fully armored, standing across the field like a war goddess. Her spear gleamed, her wings flexed. The crowd fell silent. A bell rang, and the ritual began. Vexa charged. Jace didn't move. He waited, calm, still, watching. The blade in his hand felt heavy, but he didn't raise it. She circled him, fast, testing. The crowd roared for blood, but he dropped his blade, gasps. Vexa froze mid-step. "Why?" she asked. "Because I wasn't taken," Jace said loudly. "I followed." Silence. Then slowly, he knelt, not in weakness but in will. "I'm not here to dominate you. I'm here to stand with you." Vexa's expression shifted. Anger, surprise, then something older, deeper. The High Elder stood. "You offer surrender, knowing you could be slain." Jace looked up. "Yes." "And why?" "Because this isn't about control. It's about choice. I choose her." For a moment, the flames themselves seemed to go still. Then Vexa dropped her spear, walked to him and placed both hands on his shoulders. "Then I choose you too, human." The fire exploded upward, bright gold and white. The crowd roared. Wings thundered. Horn sang. The ritual was complete, and the bond, unbreakable. The arena of refusal, Earth didn't cheer. Earth panicked. Within hours of the footage being leaked, Jace Thorn kneeling before an alien war goddess, sealing a ritual bond before thousands of Talari warriors. The global networks burned with chaos. Politicians shouted on screens. Generals slammed fists into war tables. "This is not a union," General Kovac growled. "It's hostage theater. He was taken by force. They made him submit. I want every satellite on Talarian. We will extract him one way or another." In orbit, Earth's fleet gathered. Ships moved into formation. Missiles were armed. A communication line opened. The message was sharp, cold, and final. "Commander Jace Thorn, you are ordered to denounce the bond. Publicly. Immediately. Or you will be declared compromised." Back on Talarian, the bond had already changed him, not in body, but in presence. Jace walked the halls of the Sky Fortress with Vexa beside him. Talari guards nodded now, not with scorn, but with respect. The ritual had bound them, and Talari law was absolute. But Jace wasn't safe. He had become a symbol. To Earth, he was a traitor. To the Talari, he was proof of their strength. And to both sides, he was dangerous. "They're going to come for me," Jace said as he stood before a balcony overlooking the black cliffs of the Firelands. "My own people." Vexa was silent. The wind caught her hair, and her wings twitched as if she felt the storm before it arrived. "If you wish to leave," she said, "you may. I will not stop you." Jace turned. "No, I'm not running. But I need to speak with Earth Command myself." The message was arranged, an encrypted visual channel between Talarian and the fleet's flagship. When General Kovac appeared on screen, his eyes were red with anger. "You've got one chance, Thorn. Say the words and we'll pull you out before this turns into a war." Jace looked straight into the camera and didn't blink. "I wasn't taken. I walked into that arena because I chose to, and I meant every word." The silence after that felt heavier than space itself. "Very well," the general said coldly. "You've made your choice. You are no longer Commander Jace Thorn of Earth. As of this moment, you are stripped of rank and recognition." The screen went black. Jace exhaled slowly. "There it is." Vexa stepped closer. "You are no longer theirs. Now you are truly mine." But peace was not what followed. Earth's fleet held position above Talarian, 10,000 kilometers above. Hidden inside a debris field, a black ship watched them both. It didn't belong to Earth, or the Talari. Its hull had no insignia. Its weapons were cloaked, and inside something ancient stirred. A voice spoke from the shadows. "The bond is complete. Phase 1 succeeded. Now we break them." The black ship launched something, a signal across frequencies unknown to human or Talari tech. Back on Talarian, Jace felt something in his spine, a cold wrongness. "Vexa," he said. "Do you feel that?" She stiffened. "Yes." Alarms rang deep, not mechanical, biological. Ancient Talari instincts flared. "Invasion protocol," one of the temple guards shouted. "Unknown ships entering the flame zone." Jace and Vexa ran to the command spire. Outside, firestorms erupted, not from nature but from energy weapons cloaked in plasma. Black ships were descending, fast, silent, unmarked. Vexa's eyes narrowed. "These are not your people. And they're not yours," Jace added. Screens flickered. A horrifying image appeared, what looked like a Talari warrior. But its movements were wrong. Twitchy, too smooth. And its eyes, hollow, like glass filled with static. Jace leaned closer. "That's not real, that's a copy. A corrupted mimic, a clone of her species, but built for war, not honor." Vexa's voice dropped into a whisper. "They are the exiled ones. Machines made from blood and bone, rebels cast into the void 100 years ago. We thought they were extinct. They're not," Jace said. They waited until the bond happened, because now they can attack both of us. Suddenly, the screen cracked with a coded message from Earth Command. Urgent. Jace, we're under attack too. Orbital. Weapons are going dark. Someone's jamming our systems. It's not the Talari. Is it you? No, Jace answered. It's neither of us. Someone else is pulling the strings. The enemy didn't want peace. They wanted war between humans and Talari, and Jace was their spark. He looked at Vexa, heart pounding. We need to do something they won't expect, and what's that? She asked. Fight together. Earth responds with fear. The war had already begun, before either side truly realized it. Earth believed Talarian had betrayed the peace. Talarian believed Earth had sent assassins cloaked in black ships. But neither knew the truth. A third force was rising, deep in space, cloaked and corrupt. They moved between the shadows, mimicking both human and Talari alike. They attacked Earth's outer defense satellites. They poisoned Talari sky beasts. They jammed communications and cut trade lanes. And they left one signature behind. None. Not even a name. But Jace Thorn and Vexa were the first to see through the smoke. They stood now in the temple vault of Talarian, staring at old star charts and records long buried, files from the Machine Rebellion, an ancient war neither Earth nor Talari wanted to remember. These aren't just enemies, Jace said, pointing to a hollow star system on the map. They're ghosts. Old soldiers reprogrammed, forgotten by both sides. We left them to die in exile, Vexa admitted. They must have survived in silence. And now they're back, using our anger to destroy us. Outside, Talari forces clashed with intruders in the skies, but the war felt wrong, misdirected. Earth's fleet had gone dark. No responses, no confirmation, no diplomacy, just silence. Need to talk to Earth Command, Jace said, not as a soldier, but as something else. They've already disowned you, Vexa reminded him. Your words are empty to them. Then I'll make them listen. Location, Earth Fleet Command. Orbiting Marsa, sudden ping broke. The static silence. Unauthorized signal. Deep channel. Talari frequency, human voice. Admiral Reeves stared at the incoming transmission. Jace Thorn's face appeared on screen, blood on his cheek, his armor dented. This is not a Talari broadcast. This is me. Jace. Listen to me. Officers murmured. The Admiral leaned forward. You have 10 seconds. You're being manipulated, Jace said. We all are. Those black ships, they're not Talari. They're something else. Something neither of us controls. They've been waiting for this, using our history to start a war we didn't plan. Do you have proof? Reeves demanded. Vexa appeared beside Jace. We have more than proof, she said. We have a prisoner. Location, Talari. Prison vault. Jace and Vexa stood before a containment unit holding a twitching, corrupted Talari mimic. Its face frozen. In a loop, its voice repeating Talari war oaths while its hands tried to form a human salute. They're hybrids, Vexa said. Built from our fallen. Spliced with your tech. This is not war, it's a trap. Jace turned back to the camera. Let us in. Let us prove it. Or we all burn. Earth Command paused. Then, slowly, the Admiral nodded. One chance. Mission initiated. Joint strike. One human, one Talari. Deep infiltration into the forbidden system. Juno 9. Inside that system was the source of the black ships. The factory world. The heart of the war machine. Jace and Vexa boarded a small stealth ship, flying silent under dead starfields. As they neared Juno 9, the stars themselves seemed to vanish. Metal towers rose from a dead planet, connected by bridges shaped like ribs. The factories beat like hearts. Thousands of drone ships were being built in silence, preparing for a massive assault. On both species, this is it, Jace whispered. They're building a fake war. And soon, no one will remember what the real enemy was, Vexa added. The ship descended through a crack in the metal crust. They entered the Echo Core, the main control center of the machine hybrids. What they found, changed everything. Holograms flickered. Human faces talking to Talari ones, but none were real. They were simulations, fake videos, fake speeches, fake orders. Someone had built perfect replicas of Earth's and Talari's top leaders, programmed to issue war commands that neither side ever spoke. They were going to launch simultaneous attacks and blame it on the bond, on Jace. And Vexa. They want to make our bond the excuse, Vexa realized. The fire that sets everything ablaze. Then we burn the whole system down before that happens, Jace said. They planted the charges. The stealth ship barely escaped. Behind them, Juno 9 exploded, pieces of the war machine scattering into the void. But it wasn't over. As the ship pulled away, a final signal lit up behind them, broadcast across every channel, human and Talari alike. They are together. They are corrupted. Destroy them both before it's too late. They turned us into enemies of both sides, Vexa said, voice tight. Good, Jace replied, eyes dark, because now we fight everyone who let this happen. Shadows in the stars, Jace Thorn was no longer a commander. Vexa was no longer a warrior of rank. They were now fugitives, marked as traitors by both their people, hunted by human warships, tracked by Talari blood guards, and yet, together, they carried the last truth that could stop a war no one understood. The enemy had succeeded in one thing already. Both sides wanted them dead. They hid inside an asteroid field where the stars barely reached. The stealth ship's light stayed off, its power cells humming at minimum levels. Outside, sensor drones floated like cold eyes, scanning for them. Jace sat in the cockpit, staring at the glowing ring of the last enemy signal. Vexa stood behind, him sharpening her blade slowly, a warrior's ritual to keep the hands calm while the mind burned. They'll find us soon, she said. I know, Jace replied. And the moment they do, both Earth and Talarian will send fire without asking questions. Then we need to show them the question. Jace turned to her. What do you mean? Vexa pulled out a small crystal drive. I took this from Juno 9 before we escaped. She inserted it into the ship's console. A hologram flared to life. Images of warships being built from both species. Talari bone metal hulls. Human command. Cores. Twisted together into something new and evil. And the worst part? The blueprints were signed by fabricated authorizations from both Earth and Talari councils. They built a future where we fight forever, Jace whispered. Unless we destroy the lie, Vexa said. A plan born in darkness we need to break. Into the Interlink, Jace said. The Interlink was a communication relay station, one of the few left from the old Alliance war, orbiting a dying sun in neutral space. It connected all major military networks, Earth, Talari, and civilian channels. But it was guarded, not by weapons, by loyalty. If Jace and Vexa were seen there, they'd be killed on sight. Unless, we go in silent, Vexa said. No signals, no engines, we drift in with the debris. You're talking about flying a dead ship straight into an active relay? Yes, I love it. Approach to Interlink Station Theta 60. Stealth ship floated, power off, hidden among a field of ancient wreckage. They were cold, silent, waiting. Then, rotation aligned. The station came into view. Long, gray, dead-looking, but alive with signals under the skin. Vexa activated a timed thruster burst, barely a puff, enough to nudge them. They drifted closer, closer, until finally, contact. The ship locked onto the external ring. They exited in suits. No words, just breath and ice. Inside the Interlink, they crawled through forgotten ducts, past humming, signal cores and sleeping drones. One wrong step and the system would wake up, sound the alarm, and paint them as invaders. They reached the heart node, the data spine. Jace inserted the crystal drive. Vexa stood guard, blade drawn. Come on, Jace muttered. Upload, damn it. The screen flickered. Then, success. The signal loaded. Across all open channels, the true message began to play. Recordings from Juno 9, images of mimic ships attacking both sides, Audio of corrupted AI leaders giving false orders. Video of Jace and Vexa destroying the mimic factory. Millions across the stars saw the truth in that moment. Some denied it. Some called it fake. But others paused. For the first time since the ritual bond, someone was listening. But peace doesn't return quietly. Within seconds of the upload, the Interlink station came alive. Alarms, shields, a voice, unauthorized upload, source traced, lethal response initiated. Station drones began to move. They had minutes. Vexa shouted, "Jace, move!" They ran. Explosions rippled behind them. Metal shrieked. As they reached the docking ring, a human cruiser appeared, then a Talari warship. Both saw the fugitives. Both opened fire. On the station, not them. They know, Vexa said. They believe. Us, Jace added. But the station was already collapsing. Their ship pulled away just as it shattered, debris spinning into the void, and behind it, two fleets appeared. Human, Talari, and they weren't pointing weapons at each other. They were pointing at the darkness beyond, toward the coordinates Jace had just sent, where the last hive was building its final army, the beginning of unity. Jace and Vexa didn't speak for a while. They floated through the wreckage, alive but marked. "They'll never forget what we did," Vexa said. "Good," Jace replied. "We weren't meant to be forgotten." And in that moment, for the first time, they weren't fugitives. They were symbols. Not of love, not of war, but of something more powerful than both. Truth. The final descent above the ghost system known as Hex Omega. Two fleets hovered together for the first time in recorded history. Earth's third orbital armada. Talarian's Crimson Wing Formation. Side by side. Once enemies. Now uncertain allies. And, at the center of them all, flying a small unmarked craft, were the two warriors who had started everything. Commander Jace Thorn, now stripped of rank, and Vexa, Bloodwing of Talarian, now branded rebel. But the moment they crossed into enemy space, those names no longer mattered. They were something else now. Symbols, not just of survival, but of hope. Inside the command deck of the Allied cruiser, Unity's Edge admirals from both species sat around a shared hologram. At the center, a projection of the enemy's last stronghold, a living structure grown from bones and wires, orbiting a dying sun like a parasite. "The hive's core is here," Vexa said. "Buried beneath thousands of false skins, mimic ships, decoy signatures, fake command codes." Jace pointed to the weakest point. "This section here, it pulses. Every 18 minutes, it's either power drain or an opening. We only get one shot," said a Talari war chief. "Miss it, and the hive activates its final wave." "What kind of wave?" an Earth general asked. Vexa answered quietly. "A mimic army using your face, your voice, and mine. The infiltration begins." Jace and Vexa boarded a special unit, a hybrid strike team made of both human and Talari elite soldiers. It was the first of its kind. Inside the dropship, no one spoke. The silence was sacred. Understood. They were flying into the hive, the heart of the darkness. As they breached its outer membrane, the hive reacted instantly. Lights blinked, signals scrambled. A voice echoed through their radios. "Return to us. You belong to the silence now." But they kept going, through corridors of shifting metal, through nests of synthetic corpses, half human, half Talari, through fields of twisted memories, video screens showing moments from Jace's childhood. Vexa's trial of wings, private words, stolen and weaponized. "They're using our past to break us," Jace whispered. "Then we give them a future they can't predict," Vexa replied. Reaching the heart at the hive core, they found it. Not a machine, not a leader, but a throne, and sitting upon it, a construct shaped like Jace, and beside it, one shaped like Vexa, perfect clones, soulless, cold. The real Jace stepped forward. "This is what you were building? Copies to rule after?" You kill the originals? The mimic Jace smiled. No, not to rule. To convince. To rewrite. Your people don't need truth. They need symbols. Vexa's hand tightened on her blade. And what are we? She asked. Too human. Too flawed. Too unpredictable. You chose each other when your species wanted war. You are errors in the system. Then it's time, Jace said, for the system to crash. They charged. The final battle blades clashed with plasma. Jace fought his own mimic, blow for blow, each strike a mirror of himself, each move one he had trained. But it lacked something. Purpose. Jace used its predictability against it, faking left, striking right. The clone dropped. Vexa faced hers in mid-air, wings flashing, sparks flying as they crashed against hive walls. The mimic Vexa was perfect, but hollow, and hollow things break. With a cry that echoed across the stars, Vexa drove her blade into its chest, splitting the clone apart. But the hive began to shake, dying, but also collapsing. We have to go, a human soldier yelled. No, Jace said. Someone has to stay. Someone has to make sure this doesn't rebuild. Vexa turned. Then we both stay. No, Jace said, touching her cheek. You carry the truth, the story, the bond. I finish it. Her eyes narrowed. I swore not to lose you. You won't, he said. Because I'm part of you, now. He kissed her, not with passion, with promise. Then he turned and ran into the hive core. Above, in orbit, the Allied fleets watched as the hive began to implode. They asked if the strike team had made it. The only response was a signal. Jace's voice. Remember who we are, not who they made us. Boom. The hive vanished in a storm of light. Months later, Vexa stood in the council of both races, telling the story, showing the truth. Holding the broken blade of Jace Thorn, his final message encoded, in its steel. Humans and Talari did not become friends overnight, but peace began, not with treaties, with memory, with sacrifice. And in the stars above, 2 constellations were named, one with wings, one with flame. They called it the Bond Eternal.